When we think of the greatest historical mysteries of all time, one name stands out above all others: the Library of Alexandria. Imagine a place where all the knowledge of the ancient world was gathered under one roof. A place where the brightest minds traveled from faraway lands to study, debate, and discover. Now imagine that treasure vanishing in fire, war, or silence, and with it, thousands of years of wisdom erased forever. That is the story of the Library of Alexandria, a historical tragedy so great that it still echoes in classrooms, books, and debates today. The library was built in the Egyptian city of Alexandria around 300 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Ptolemy II. After the death of Alexander the Great, his empire was divided among his generals, and Egypt fell to the Ptolemaic dynasty. Ptolemy II wanted Alexandria to be more than a capital. He wanted it to be the intellectual heart of the world. He created a dream to collect every written work from every known civilization and preserve it in one place. His ambition gave birth to the legendary Library of Alexandria. This was no ordinary library. According to historical sources, ships docking at Alexandria's harbor were searched, and every manuscript, scroll, or document found on board was taken by officials. The works were copied by scribes, and while the owners received the copies, the originals were kept in the library. Over time, the collection grew to hundreds of thousands of scrolls. It was said that anyone who wished to write, study, or learn in the ancient world eventually made their way to Alexandria. Some even claimed that within its walls, the library held nearly all the knowledge of mankind. What was inside? That is where imagination collides with history. Ancient medical knowledge from India and Egypt, advanced mathematics from Greece, engineering secrets from Mesopotamia, astronomical calculations that mapped the stars, and perhaps even lost technologies we cannot dream of. Some legends even suggest that the works of lost civilizations, like Atlantis, might have been preserved there. While we cannot prove these claims, the very idea of what was lost makes the destruction of this library one of the most heartbreaking historical events ever recorded. But how did it disappear? The truth is, no one knows for certain, and that is what makes this a never-ending historical puzzle. One theory points to 48 BC, when Julius Caesar, in pursuit of Pompey, entered Alexandria. In the chaos of battle, Caesar ordered ships in the harbor to be set on fire. The flames spread to the city, and some say the library was caught in the inferno. Others argue that this was only a partial loss, and the library survived in some form afterward. Another account suggests that during the 3rd century, Emperor Aurelian's forces, while reclaiming the city from Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, destroyed large parts of Alexandria, including the library. Yet another theory blames the rise of Christianity in the 4th century. Pagan temples were being destroyed, and if the library was associated with pagan knowledge, it may have been intentionally wiped out. Lastly, some historians point to the Muslim conquest of Egypt in the 7th century, claiming that Caliph Umar ordered the burning of the remaining scrolls, saying that if the writings agreed with the Quran, they were unnecessary, and if they disagreed, they were dangerous. The scrolls, it is said, fueled the city's bathhouses for months. The problem is, every one of these stories comes from different sources, and no one can say with certainty which, if any, is true. Perhaps the library didn't vanish in one single event, but gradually disappeared over centuries, as wars, fires, and politics chipped away at it. That may be the cruelest answer of all, not a dramatic fire, but a slow, careless death of the greatest treasure in human history. The real question is, what did we lose? Some historians believe we lost scientific theories that could have advanced us thousands of years ahead. Imagine cures for diseases written by Egyptian healers, or astronomical charts that could have guided sailors across oceans centuries before Europeans began exploring. Imagine early blueprints of machines, inventions, and technologies that could have started the Industrial Revolution in ancient times. The loss of this knowledge might be the single greatest setback in the historical journey of mankind. This tragedy also reveals a painful truth about history. Knowledge is fragile. Books burn easily. Scrolls decay. And without effort, entire civilizations can be erased from memory. The Library of Alexandria is not just about what we lost. it is also a warning. It shows us that power, politics, and ignorance can destroy knowledge faster than it can be created. That lesson is more important today than ever before. In the age of the internet, we feel secure, but digital knowledge can also vanish in an instant, if not preserved carefully. The Library of Alexandria continues to live in our imagination because it represents possibility. It asks the question, what if? What if the library had survived? Would we have flying machines in the Middle Ages? Would we have colonized the moon in ancient times? Would human suffering have been lessened by cures and discoveries centuries earlier? We will never know, and that is what makes it one of the greatest historical mysteries of all time. In the end, the Library of Alexandria is not just a story of destruction, but a symbol of hope. It reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is the greatest journey of humanity. Every time we preserve history, every time we save a book, every time we pass on knowledge, we fight against the tragedy of Alexandria. The flames may have consumed the library, but they did not consume the human desire to learn. That, in itself, is the greatest victory of history.